Hello, everyone, and welcome to the show. We seem to be having a technical difficulty, but we're just going to be running with it. Now, back in the day when most people thought that live video was just for those who have nothing better to do, Mitch Jackson, a trial lawyer, also known as the streaming lawyer, led the way and became a contributing consulting expert in the California State Bar's effective introduction of evidence in California. And that was chapter 54, the electronic and social media evidence. Mitch is once again leading the way, and we're going to be talking about his upcoming book, The Metaverse Handbook. So don't go away, we'll be right back, and let's see if technology is working with us now. Well, after that bumpy start, if you're just joining us, this is Books with Bridgetti, and welcome to the show. I'm your host, Bridgetti Lim Banda from Cape Town in South Africa, and our stream is made possible by BeLive Media StreamYard. Welcome. If you've never watched a show before, then let us know. We'd be happy to give you a shout out to welcome you to the show. In today's show, we're going to be talking to trial lawyer Mitch Jackson about his latest book, The Metaverse Handbook, and you don't want to miss the show. But before we bring Mitch on screen, I'm all about helping people level up on their live video production. And just as a suggestion, what I use is the Logitech Brio camera. It's trademarked Right Light HDR. Dynamic technology is what helps you look good on camera, which means you don't have to fuss too much about your lighting, which is amazing. And then I also use the Samsung studio condenser microphone, which is this one over here. It's got a die cast construction, which means that it reduces noise and vibrations, which makes it ideal for live streaming. But not everyone wants to have a big microphone or needs to have one, but do get an external one. I would otherwise recommend something like the Rode lavalier microphone, a high quality lapel microphone. So do invest in something, because people will tune out if they can't hear you well. People will forgive a picture that's less than perfect, but if they can't hear you, they will tune out. A lot of people, especially authors these days, are still doing things online, and a lot of authors I know simply use their phones to go live, and that is absolutely fantastic. The cameras on the phones are amazing, but you don't want to make your audience feel seasick. So I do recommend one of two things, which is the DJ Osmo stabilizer to stabilize your phone and put that on a tripod. Or you could also use something like the iographer, but just something to stabilize your phone so you don't make your audience feel seasick when they are watching your broadcast. But let's get on to the main stuff today, which is our amazing guest, Mitch Jackson. He is an award-winning 2009 Orange County Trial Lawyer of the Year, also the 2013 California Litigation Lawyer of the Year. Mitch is just one of those exceptional people that I know, and he uses his 35 years of practicing law to help and add value to consumers and his clients. He says we are doing the digital dance at the intersection of law, business, and technology, and now including the metaverse and Web3. So we'll find out more about that. And just to add to how amazing Mitch is, he has also spoken several times at Tony Robbins' business mastery events before thousands. And he is an early adopter of live video for the legal fraternity. And he has also done keynotes and presentations at the New York, the San Francisco, Los Angeles, and Periscope summits. He's also appeared on screen with some of the most exceptional people like Katie Couric, Anderson Cooper, Seth Godin, Peter Diamandis, and Gary Vaynerchuk. With that, let's give an amazing warm welcome to our Mitch,
Hi,
it's
Eddie. It's good to see you. You sure know how to make a guy feel special. Thank you very much. You are a true professional. Everyone that's doing live streaming, live video, follow Bridgetti's example. Do what she tells you to do. This is so cool. You are such a professional.
Thank you, Mitch. It's awesome having you on the show. And I am just so excited about this new book about yours. Where did the
Me too.
idea come? Where did the idea come from? Tell us.
I'll tell you what, I'm so excited and doubling down, tripling down, 100xing down on Web3 and the metaverse. And to give you an idea of where the book came from or is coming from and why I'm so excited, just look at my Twitter feed today. I posted several tweets. One tweet is about the New York Stock Exchange applying for intellectual property rights so that they can build out their exchange and concepts and approaches relating to blockchain and NFT of their exchange, okay, in the metaverse. Look at a CryptoPunk selling earlier this week for $23 million. It's an NFT, amazing story. You look at in the United States, a piece of real property selling for $650,000 in Ethereum, which is a type of cryptocurrency using NFT technology. If you look at a major coin-based type of crypto exchange, settling a case with the Security and Exchange Commission here in the United States for $100 million. As a lawyer, what this is telling me is that this is an exciting time to be alive. We're moving forward with a whole new type of way that will connect all of us around the world as human beings. And because of those reasons and a lot more, and by the way, that's just over the last couple of days, right? Because of all of these reasons, I've literally dived head first. We've opened up a virtual division in our law firm. Our clients love it. I'm enjoying it. And to pull all of this together, I'm putting together a book to help business owners, entrepreneurs, creators, artists, and other professionals do the same thing. They don't need to learn how to code. I'm going to take them by the hand and show them the platforms and show them the approaches so that they too can dip their toe in the Metaverse sandbox and have some fun moving forward in 2022.
So I'm going to start right out for somebody that's watching the show and they don't know what the metaverse is or what an NFT is. Can you just tell us, what exactly it is for somebody who has no idea?
Imagine somebody asking you or me years ago, what is live video? And so we're explaining to them what live video is. You click a link, you go live with the world, just like we are right now. The metaverse is somewhat similar. And by that, I mean, it's simply a virtual or digital extension of what we're doing in real life, of what we're doing in Web 2.0, traditional social media. For example, as a lawyer, you can click and meet with me in a virtual conference room, or I can present to my clients or an audience of 1 or 1,000 in a virtual stage. You can access these microverses. In other words, it's not just one metaverse like the Matrix movie. These are small company microverses in virtual reality that allow us to build out our brands, to service our clients, to provide our products and services, and do commercial transactions in a virtual world. And what's really cool about this is our clients or your customers or your clients or patients can access these venues using their phone, their tablet, their laptop, or their desktop. The platforms that we use are user friendly. Now, when you access these platforms with a headset, like an Oculus Quest 2, and I wish I could reach mine, it's on the other side of my desk, it improves the experience by a factor of 95%. So that, Bridgetti, if you and I were in the same room having a meeting or having a conversation, it would feel like we're standing next to each other. Okay, we can walk around each other, we can knuckle bump each other, we can, I could reach down and bring up my book and literally hand it to you. You can take it and open it. It's just an amazing interactive experience that's changing the world. So much so that I see the metaverse technology having the same impact on society that the printing press eventually had after it was first invented in the 1400s. That's the impact that the metaverse is going to have on our world.
Wow. So talk a bit about the equipment and technology. You're saying that you can use your phone, but you need the headset. Is that correct?
One or the other. So one of the really cool things about current metaverse technology is, just like you and I would share a link to appear together on this StreamYard application, I can send you a link and you can click and join me in the metaverse using your phone, your laptop, your desktop, or tablet. It's a 2D environment, and it's pretty effective. It's not as good as if you did put on a headset and join me in the metaverse using a traditional headset. Like I said, the experience is about 95% better, but it's one of these situations where once you get in and once you interact with someone, and I'm inviting you right now to join me. I don't know if you have a headset or not, but if you
I
do,
don't.
I want you to join me, and I'll be able to show you exactly by tapping a few buttons. We can go into a conference room. We can stand on a stage where you can imagine thousands of people are in the audience with vendor booths. It looks very, very real. We can tap and go into a courtroom, and I'll take clients into a virtual courtroom, and we walk through the courtroom, and I show them where counsel table is, where the jury box is, where the witness stand is, where the judge sits. It literally feels like we're in a courtroom. These are the ways that we're using the metaverse. But like I said, companies right now, I think smart companies are leveraging this new technology to begin to build out their brands. And so in the book, what we wanted to do is really make it easy for people to click and tap and start building out their brands and leveraging this new technology in a way where they're early users. They can build their brand in these new platforms. And as things continue to mature, as things continue to get even better and even easier to use, they'll be positioning themselves for success for many, many years to come.
Wow. So I was going to ask you, how would you typically use this in a courtroom, and how would businesses typically use this?
Well, to give you an example, 3 weeks ago, it rained in Southern California. That's very unusual in Southern California. And so the 45-minute drive from Los Angeles down to Orange County, which is where our law firm's located, turned into a 3.5 or 4 hour experience. So first thing in the morning, our phones lit up. People wanted to reschedule or bounce their appointment back. And what we did is we always try to accommodate the client. Let's just meet on the phone. We can reschedule the appointment. But with everyone, we offered the option. If you'd like, we can send you a link, just like we would with StreamYard, and you can click on it and you can meet with Mitch in our virtual office. It's a private office. You're going to love it. If you'd like to give it a try, let's do it. And 2 out of the 4 clients actually took us up on it. They were technology clients. They had headsets. And one of the clients, within the first 60 seconds of the meeting, it was a potential new client, stopped me and said, "Mitch, stop talking. You're our guy. We're hired. This is the law firm we want." It's the first time in 35 years of practicing law, in the first minute or two, that I've had a client basically beg to be, for me to be their lawyer. And it was because of the metaverse experience. They're in a beautiful conference room, and I had their logo up on the wall. And when you're in these virtual rooms, you can display photographs, you can display videos, you can bring up objects in 3D and examine them and use them to decorate your office space. And that's what we did. We prepped this office so that when the client came in, they knew that we were thinking about not only them, but their client, but their company. And it made a great first impression. So that's one way I think companies can continue with doing business as they are right now, but they can set up a virtual division, a virtual department, a virtual conference room to give clients, patients, or customers that additional option and another way to do business with you. And for those reasons, that's how we're using it. Although different companies from around the world are tapping into the power of the metaverse in many, many different ways. For example, you asked me about NFTs, non-fungible tokens. NFTs, I think, and the blockchain technology and smart contracts, whether we like it or not, are changing the world. And when I think of NFTs, yes, there are creative paintings, artwork, sketches, doodles, things that we all see on social media each and every day, some selling for a lot of money. That's one way of using an NFT. Okay, there are other ways of using NFTs. I'm speaking at a big conference in Scottsdale, Arizona in May, and what they're doing, it's the CEX.events conference with Joe Paluzzi and Brian Clark. Joe Paluzzi's generally considered the father of content marketing. And what they're doing is they're offering tickets via NFTs. So when you purchase a ticket, you get a non-fungible token, you get an NFT that allows you access to the event. It's unlockable, which means once you purchase it, you can open it up and you'll have access to maybe behind the scenes meetings. Maybe you get to meet the speakers. Maybe you're going to a special dinner event that's not announced to everyone else. It might even give you access to the event next year or the year thereafter. It's just another way of adding value in a protected form to your clients, to your patients, to your customers. So that's what we're using NFTs for also. When you become a client of the firm, it unlocks behind the scenes access to a lot of different things, including your case files, including your private calendar, including a special private toll-free number to get in touch with me 24/7. It's just a tool that's now available that we can use as business owners to provide a better client experience. As time passes, as we move forward through the end of the year and the year thereafter, these tools will become easier to use. These tools will be integrated with each other. So what we're doing in Metaverse A, we can transfer over to Metaverse B or Metaverse C. The integration aspect of everything I'm talking about is what's going to really amplify or accelerate the use of these platforms. If you think about the concept of compound interest, which is just a very powerful tool in the investment community, what a lot of people don't realize is the power of compound interest is as follows. If you take a napkin sitting on the table and you fold it over once, and you fold it over again, my question to you is, how many times would you need to fold this napkin for that napkin to reach from the earth to the moon? And most people are surprised that through the power of compound interest, if you folded that napkin 44 times, that's all it's going to take to double in size, triple in size, quadruple in size. Before you know it, that napkin will reach from the earth to the moon 44 times. What I expect to see and what I'm already observing with the metaverse and Web3 technology is exponential growth. The more people that are using it and get excited about it, the faster the growth and the interest is traveling. It's compounding at an exponential rate, unlike anything I've ever seen in 35 years of business. So when you see companies like the New York Stock Exchange, or Nike, or McDonald's, or any of the big companies embracing this technology and spending literally billions and billions of dollars to build out these platforms, I've never been accused of being the sharpest knife in the drawer, but that tells me that there is something to what we're observing and living in right now in real time. And I think the business owners that get involved early, the business owners that embrace and wrap their digital arms around this new technology are the same business owners that are positioning themselves for a lot of success moving forward.
That sounds very interesting, Mitch. So, are there any sort of, just listening to you, are there any sort of IP rights issues that people should be aware of?
That's what everything revolves around, is intellectual property rights. So while I'm located here in the United States, as you well know, the rights are different around the world. What I'm seeing as a lawyer right now is the need for everyone that is, venturing out into the Web3, which is decentralized interactions on the internet, venturing out to the metaverse, venturing out and using blockchain and smart contracts. You have to pay attention to intellectual property rights. What that means is, just because it's easy to take something and bring it up into a Web3 type of environment doesn't mean you get to disregard who owns the intellectual property to that asset, to that item, to that thing. So the biggest challenge that we're seeing as lawyers right now are, people not respecting intellectual property rights, copyright, trademarks, the right to publicity, the right to privacy, for example. What we're noticing with NFTs is, when it comes to NFTs being what I refer to as fractionalized, in other words, if I was to have an NFT and say, listen, I'm going to sell this NFT, portions of this NFT, to 1,000 different people, and we're going to watch this NFT appreciate, and we're all going to share in the value of this appreciation. So it's an investment. What a lot of people don't realize is, when it comes to NFTs, the Security and Exchange Commission may actually deem those NFTs as securities. And if they are securities, then there are certain filing and regulation requirements that need to be complied with. And so from a legal standpoint, what we're seeing with some of these large NFT drops is the need to raise awareness in our clients' minds as to whether or not what's really going on is they've created an NFT that happens to be a security that requires additional regulation, licensing, and rules and regulations compliance. So from a legal standpoint, we're seeing these issues pop up. So I'm excited about that, because I get to help people and take them by the legal hand and guide them down the right path. We're also seeing the need for additional provisions in contracts. Now that we're offering our products and services online in metaverse environments, what are the rights? What are the remedies? Different provisions need to be included in these contracts. So I see that as being another very big obligation on the part of business owners, and also an opportunity for entrepreneurs to create content that helps business owners venturing into the virtual platforms to make the right decisions, to set things up the right way. And I'm excited to announce that last week, my son and I, who's in his last semester of university at the University of Southern California, he's a business major and marketing major at the Marshall School of Business. We formed a new company. We're going to be offering metaverse consulting and Web3 consulting. And Garrett is helping me co-author the book that I started, that he's now picking up and running with the ball on, called the Metaverse Handbook: How to Create, Market, and Sell in a Virtual World. And so it's fun, Bridgetti, as a dad, to get to work with one of your children on a project. It's also fun to be positioning this new company in a way where I happen to know, just as an entrepreneur, as a business owner, as a lawyer, there's a need for everything that we're going to be doing. With his age group and his friends that want to get involved with the company, they're excited. They're all in their early 20s. They understand and appreciate how important this is. When we watched the Super Bowl last Sunday here in Los Angeles, go Rams, by the way, and Garrett's going to be at the Super Bowl parade in about 2 hours. It's going right by his fraternity house at USC. So that should be a fun morning for him. If you look at what the Super Bowl did, we're talking about offering NFTs. We're talking about adding a metaverse experience into the whole Super Bowl environment. Everyone is paying attention to what's happening. Not everyone's going to get it right, but I think only by getting involved and getting your digital hands dirty can you figure out what works and what doesn't. And you know me, even back in the early days of live streaming, I dived into most of the popular platforms. A lot of them aren't around anymore, but I will tell you what I learned even playing around on the platforms that eventually evaporated into digital dust is I learned things that I can use today on StreamYard with you. And so I think it's really smart as business owners to learn as much as you can. The idea of the book is to lay it all out. We're going to be talking about digital, the purchase, leasing, and renting of digital land. We're going to be talking about the legal aspects. We're going to be talking about what are my favorite platforms for a professional to use. For example, spatial.io, engagevr.io, Horizon Workrooms. These three platforms allow you to create just a beautiful and amazing metaverse environment, oftentimes for free, with just a couple of clicks, where you can create an art gallery, you can create an office space, you can create a conference room. And as early as this afternoon, you can start meeting people in these virtual spaces. That's how fast and how easy it is to do what I'm talking about. So in the book, we lay out which platforms we recommend. We talk about what equipment seems to work best with each platform. We talk about the different ways of how to communicate in these platforms. It's one thing to create a platform. It's another thing to have your avatar show up and then just stand there in the room, and look like this and not do anything at all. So I talk about some things that we use in trial to effectively communicate and connect and build rapport with our jury. That works in the metaverse. You use your body language, you use your head, you use anchor points in a conference room, you use photographs and videos when making your point in the metaverse spaces. The reason I'm reminding everyone of that is because you're appearing as an avatar. And as an avatar, when you move, especially if you're using a headset, your arms and your legs are moving. When I smile, and when I frown and when I move my head, my avatar's facial expressions are changing. And a lot of people forget about that. As technology gets better, what I just mentioned will even be highlighted more so moving forward. And I mean over the next 6 months, not the next 6 years. It's happening like this. So there's a right and wrong way to use the metaverse. There's a right and wrong way to communicate in the metaverse. And these are all of the different things that I'll be pointing out in the book when it drops, hopefully in about 2 more weeks, because as you can imagine, one of my last issues that came up that I'm addressing just because I'm a lawyer is human resource requirements. What do HR departments need to sit down and talk to their employees and team members about? What we're noticing is people are not behaving themselves in certain metaverse platforms. For some reason, they're letting their guard down. So you might have an employer saying something inappropriate to an employee and feeling as though he, she, or they can do so just because they're an avatar. I'm not in our real office. I'm in a virtual space, so it's okay for me to let my hair down and act this way. And it's not. So a chapter I'm working on right now is to try to help human resource departments with the resources they need to really raise awareness that just because we're in a metaverse space doesn't mean that your state or federal or country laws, when it comes to employer and employee relationships, that it doesn't mean that we can simply look the other way and not pay attention to these important, interactive requirements. So it's been a fun journey and a fun process, and I can't wait to share it with the world.
Mitch, that is such a huge aspect that you mentioned now about HR. It's almost like back in the day on Twitter, people refer to people as keyboard warriors because they don't realize
Exactly.
that they can be tracked and seen. And it sounds to me like this is something similar with the metaverse and people needing to be aware that they're not anonymous, as it were.
No, we're showing up. It's your name and my name. And by the way, these avatars, when you come into spatial.io or engage VR, you're given an option, which I'm recommending people accept. That option is you use your webcam or your camera, or you upload a photo of your face. The AI, the artificial intelligence, takes that photo and it puts it on top of an avatar body. and you can select the body. For example, I'm recommending for professionals, mine looks professional. I've got a blue blazer, white shirt, another avatar. I've got a business suit on. It's my face on the body. I want to look professional. And so
Yeah.
there's no anonymity in these platforms. We're doing this for business. I want people to know they're talking with you or they're talking with me. I want them to know what I look like. But we have to follow the law when we're in these spaces, right? And so it's just something where in the UK last week, a story broke of a woman that was sexually assaulted in a metaverse environment. I've had a couple of calls from employees who say they were alleged that and I think they were sexually harassed from their employer in metaverse platforms. And the way it works is I would move my avatar right up to someone else, and I would reach out and do inappropriate things with my hands and or my body. And it's a business setting. There are business rules and regulations that obviously, in including common decency, you just don't treat someone else like that. What people don't realize is that the avatar interaction in the metaverse, it's actually very intimate. It feels like you and I are in the same space. And I think if we leverage that for good, it can help us sell products and services and close deals. If you leverage that for bad, it's going to get you into legal deep trouble, as it should. So there are a lot of new dynamics that we're trying to wrap our head around, and I'm really excited just where I am in life, where I am in my practice, where I am with technology, how I understand these platforms. I'm excited to hopefully offer a small amount of value to many mutual friends of ours who are thinking about starting a portion or part of their company in the metaverse or virtual reality spaces. So it should be a fun ride.
Absolutely. Well, those sounds like very good safety precautions to take into consideration when you're dealing in the metaverse. And congratulations with working with your son, Gareth. It's something
Yeah.
that I'm passionate about as well, because we've got two sons, and being able to work with your offspring in the business is just such an amazing blessing. And talking about the Rams, my husband grew up in the States in California, and since he was a
Really?
Yes, since he was a boy of 7 years old, the Rams has been his team, so
Oh,
of course it was something huge in our home the other day.
oh, well, tell him I said congratulations. I mean, that last 10 minutes was so exciting because we weren't sure what was going to happen. And in the final drive, coming down the field with Cooper Kupp catching those passes, with Matt making those passes, with Donald sacking the quarterback to help secure the win. It was an exciting game. What's going to happen with the metaverse and what we're going to be seeing within the next 12 months, what we're already seeing, by the way, those of you who are fans of the Olympics, and I don't know if you know this, Bridgetti, but in Oculus right now, there's an app. And if you type in Olympics, it brings up the app. The app is provided by NBC. It's free. It's providing you access to the Olympics in 8K in a metaverse virtual
Oh,
reality experience. Okay. The Oculus Quest 2 that I recommend and I'm using, it's $300 or less, wireless. It integrates and it's compatible with all the top platforms. It's easy and inexpensive. We've actually purchased 10 of them for clients in our firm that we can hand out to clients that don't have headsets if they want to interact with us in a virtual space. The Oculus works up to about 4K. Okay, but apparently this experience is available up to 8K. So if you have a more expensive headset, it's available to you. But when I watch downhill skiing, I love to ski. When I watch the mogul competition, when I watch some of the other events through the headset, you feel like you're right there. I'm standing right next to the mogul run, watching the skier come down right by me. When I look to my left or the right, other spectators are there clapping and cheering and having a hot toddy. When I turn around, you can see the beautiful lodge, the suite that apparently I've purchased to have exclusive rights to the best seat in the house. So what they're doing is they've got these cameras all over the run, whether they're streaming above on a wire, whether they're set up strategically as the skiers work their way down the mountain. And it literally feels like you can feel the cold, icy breeze on your face. You can't, but that's how good this is as they ski by. I mean, there are times where I actually lose my balance because I feel like the skier's coming right at me. We're seeing that in professional sports also. You're starting to see that with, I believe it's the New York Knicks basketball team. They're starting to offer 3D VR options to watching the game. It's amazing. Now, if we take this technology into our businesses so that when someone comes in, they feel like they're sitting right next to you, regardless of where they're located in the room. You can actually take them and walk down the assembly line to show them how you create your products and services. You can actually bring up their product in a 3D environment and show them how, with your expertise, you can make it even better. It's just unbelievable interactive communication options that these platforms are now allowing. And once somebody has a taste, just a little taste of what I'm talking about, you're never going to look back. You know,
That's
the people,
amazing.
the naysayers out there are the people that have never even tried this. And that's what I get a kick out of, is somebody talking about what, you know, how ridiculous platform ABC is. And if they reach out to me or I reach out to them, well, I haven't tried it, Mitch, but this is my first impression. I'm like, that's like trying to give somebody a haircut over the phone. You just can't do it. It doesn't work. You need to
No,
be there. You need to put the scissors in your hand and you need to start clipping away. And the same approach works with the metaverse.
it just blows my mind when I think about it. You know, I often say to people that complain about virtual events, and I said, you know, never before have you had an opportunity to speak to a keynote speaker the way you can now in a virtual event. Because if you went to an in-person event, your chances of speaking to the keynote speaker one-on-one is virtually zero. But in an online
Right.
experience, you can talk to this person as if they're next to you, you know, talking across the coffee table. Now, something that just piqued my interest when you're talking about showing objects, how would this change things for lawyers in a courtroom showing evidence?
I wrote a post back in 2016 about trying a case in a virtual reality courtroom while standing on the beach down by my house with my toes in the sand, picking a jury with jurors from all over the world, looking to my left and right, and it feels like I'm in a virtual courtroom, taking care of the evidence in digital space, reaching up and bringing the exhibits in and the jury instructions and the defective product, whatever the issue may be, and actually trying this case. And it's very, very doable. I thought it was back in 2016, and now it's even more doable in today's world. And the reason it's more doable in today's world, there are a couple of reasons. Number one, our society, our communities are more comfortable with social distancing and with remote interactions. Because of the pandemic, there's a whole new awareness that consumers are okay with. In fact, I could argue that they actually expect to be given the option to meet with me in a live video or in some other remote capacity, which may eventually be in the metaverse. I think there's just a new comfort level and expectation, number one. Number two, with technology, back when I wrote the article, we were still in a 3G world. I think 4G was just starting. With technology today, with 5G technology and different aspects of that, everything we're talking about is completely doable, almost from anywhere and anytime. So I do see this as being an option somewhere down the line. I'm still old school. I want to be in front of 12 jurors that I've never met before, build that rapport, watch their body language, pick up the little nuances that I think help me win cases for my clients. But this is something that I think is going to change everything. You know, I just looked on my screen. I mean, if you want me to, I could do a quick screen share of
Yes.
a video that I took while walking through a couple of different metaverse conference rooms that I mentioned to you. And it's only just a couple of minutes long, but I could walk you through it so you can see exactly what I'm talking about. You want to give it a try?
Yeah, sure. I'd love that.
Okay, so I think I need to share my screen. So let me go ahead. And this is fun. We're just trying this on the fly. So let's see what happens here. I think we'll be able to do it. So let me share my screen. It's asking me to pick a tab. I'm going to go to a video. I'm going to, by the way, there might be some music to this. I'm going to turn the music down at my end and kind of hopefully walk through what we're doing.
Okay.
Are you able to see this video?
Yes, I am. I'm going to put it on to full screen, shall I?
Please do. Please do. And are you able to hear me or the sound on the video?
I can hear both.
Okay. This is a typical conference room that we use. I don't know how to turn the audio, the sound off, so I'm just going to walk through it. But I want everyone to see what it looks like. Okay. I want everyone to see what it looks like. This is how we bring up different items on the big screen or in front. This is a conference room, almost like a lecture hall, where you could teach a class. You could meet with employees in your company. I'm simply streaming through my Oculus.
Oh, wow.
This is the conference room where you could hold a large event.
So anything you can visualize, you can basically use.
Absolutely.
And that's a courtroom. That's amazing, Mitch. Wow.
So I just wanted to give you a taste of how good the graphics are. And for example, if you and I and 10 other people were in that conference room, I can literally click a button and take us to an office or take us to a private room or take us to a completely different environment where you don't have to do anything. It just moves us to whatever I have set up for the presentation. So for example, one of the things that we're working on right now is we've got a conference facility that normally I think is set up as an art gallery where you would walk through and see my artwork or see my NFTs that are linked to my digital wallet. It's a beautiful space and it's like you and I walking through an art gallery. Well, what we're doing is we're going to walk a insurance defense attorney and a claims adjuster through the chronological timeline of a case. The first photo, the first video will be our client and what he looked like immediately after a very, very serious distracted driving automobile, motorcycle, traffic collision, broken bones, destroyed motorcycle. And each photo and each video will walk the person through the rehabilitation process, the surgery, the physical therapy, where we are today. As we're walking through together, we can do Q&A and we can actually bring the other side into our client's life. And we can do this literally for pennies on the dollar compared to what it used to cost us to do a day in the life video. It's what we call them. We can do it in a way where I know it's going to impact the other people that I'm sharing this presentation with. It can be a private presentation or a public presentation, depending on what's appropriate for your business needs. And it's also a way to stand out. If the other side correctly understands that we're willing to take the time to have a 15-minute meeting with them, and this is the experience that they're having, imagine the experience a jury is going to have if they force me to try this case, right? It's going to change everything. And so there's just a lot of business uses and also branding uses to being early on these platforms. And that's why you see me getting so excited with all the content that I'm sharing, primarily over at mitchjackson.com. When I see an interesting video or platform or case use for the metaverse, virtual reality, Web3, I'm sharing it in a post over there. And the game plan is just to raise awareness. The game plan is to build an interest in the consulting agency that we're rolling out. And the game plan is to hopefully help everybody move together as a community, like we have, like you and I have done in live streaming, as a community to kind of explore, learn, understand, and use these platforms together. And I think when it's everything that's done or is done around community, that's where I think the long-term value is built. And that's where I feel like it's also a lot of fun. And that's just the way I've always done business. So that's what I'm trying to do here, is just add value.
Amazing. Mitch, for our viewers, do you have any tips on content creation and how to communicate effectively in the metaverse?
I do. I want people to think about what you're already doing in real life on the digital platforms. You can also do in the metaverse or virtual reality platforms. So for example, whether it's logos, whether it's the products and services that you sell, when you're creating these virtual experiences, you can have your team go in early, and you can tactfully and carefully position these items, these intro videos, these products in your office, in your conference room. In that large conference room that we saw, you saw vendor booths going down the right and the left. True, you can lease those out to vendors in a traditional office sense, or what I can do is have a team member from my product liability department manning one of those booths. I can have somebody that represents our company when it comes to sports in the local community and the sports and teams that we support, maybe manning another booth. For the young trial lawyers that want to learn how to become better advocates for their clients in the courtroom, we may have a booth set up to help young trial lawyers get involved with some of the services that we offer so that they can do a better job. What's interesting is that if you and I are on stage presenting while all of this is going on, there's what's called spatial audio. We can literally draw a circle around the booth so that the only people that could hear what's being discussed are those people in each of these booths. It's not disrupting everyone in the audience. It's not disrupting you and I trying to communicate our message from the stage. And so, it's one of these things where I think the only limits to using the metaverse are with our own imaginations. And I think as more people get familiar with these options, for example, I wasn't aware of the spatial audio option until about a month ago. And once I heard that, it changed everything, because what I was noticing is while I was on stage, and we've been using these, I've already been presenting to law firms, 30 partners in a law firm, to 40 or 50 people in a marketing company. What I noticed is I could hear other people talking, and it was kind of interfering with the presentation. Then somebody pointed out to me, Mitch, there's what's called spatial audio. Click this button, adjust this setting, and you're going to love the results. And so I like learning together. And that's what we're doing right now. I've officially designated 2022 as my learning year. Going to make mistakes. There's going to be mistakes in the book. Garrett and I, with the consulting agency, are probably going to make a few mistakes. But for every mistake we make, we're going to learn from those mistakes. Chances are the consumer, the reader, the client, the customer isn't even going to be aware that a mistake was made, right? Because this is so new, but we're going to know. And we're just going to use 2022. We've given ourselves permission to use 2022 as a year of learning, and a year of experimentation in the metaverse, and a year of telling everyone it's okay not to be perfect, but it's not okay not to get involved with these platforms. That's how important they are and how impactful they're going to be when it comes to how we live our lives, when it comes to how we do business. And once again, I get it, for good or bad, right? For good or bad. A lot of people are like, this is the last thing we need. I'm the kind of person that likes to be outside, paddleboarding, running. I get it, right? But here's the reality. This technology is not going anywhere. It's only continuing to grow at that compound, that exponential rate that I talked about at the beginning of the show. And either you're on the train, hopefully giving that train a little bit of direction as to where you're going, or you're left back at the station. And I don't want to see anybody left back at the station. So that's kind of where my head's at and my mindset moving forward this year in 2022.
Awesome. Mitch, who's the book targeted for? Like, who should get a copy of this book? Who will benefit from it?
We specifically are targeting and hopefully helping creators, artists, entrepreneurs, small, medium, and large business owners and professionals, doctors, lawyers, CPAs. It's for the business owner. This isn't a book about coding. It's not a book about tweaking, the code in a smart contract so that you can do X, Y, and Z with an NFT. It's a book about here's the platform, here's how you use it, here's how you can market and brand on the platform, here's how you can effectively communicate and persuade. And if you do all of these things, chances are you're going to be the only business in town, in your state, in your region, depending on where you're located around the world, to be offering the consumer a metaverse or virtual reality option. And I think by doing that, you're building your brand as an innovator. You are letting the customer, client, or patient know that it's their experience that matters, and that this is simply another digital welcome mat between you and a third party to hopefully help them fix their problems or find the solution that they're looking for. So that's who the book's written for. It's going to be easy to read. It's going to be a weekend type of read, hopefully. For those of you that read as slowly as I do, maybe it'll be 3 or 4 days. But I just want it to be a useful tool that people can look at and say, okay, I get it. I know what I need to do next. I now know what a digital wallet is. I know why cryptocurrency works in the metaverse, because if you're going to buy a product in the metaverse, you can't just use paper money. Right now, even using a credit card can be somewhat challenging. So right now, you're going to want to set up, a MetaMask wallet and have, Bitcoin and Ethereum set up, and so that you can do transactions. So right now, as a law firm, we're actually accepting transactions in certain cryptocurrencies if that's what the client wants to do. And it's fun, and we're enjoying it, and we're keeping it very, very simple and easy to do for everybody involved. So that's my target market. That's who the book's for, and that's kind of the game plan.
Awesome. Mitch, you've got two metaverse groups, a Facebook group and a LinkedIn group. Tell us a bit about it and how people can connect with you there.
I did not know you knew about those. Thank you for bringing those up. So what I'm doing is sharing everything we just talked about. For example, I am also sharing this interview in those groups. And we've got a group set up in Facebook. And for people that don't like Facebook, I get it. Okay. I've set one up in LinkedIn. And that's where we're sharing this type of content. So I want everyone to, if you're interested in becoming part of the group and just watching and learning, or if you want to participate or share resources, just go to mitchjackson.com. Over on the right-hand side on your desktop or down below on your phone, you'll see the Metaverse groups mentioned. I also have a Discord that's available through the mitchjackson.com website. What's interesting is if you are going to be playing in these spaces, it's really important that you revisit Twitter, because a lot of conversation about Web3 is taking place on Twitter. It's also important that you get comfortable with Discord. The Discord server community is where all the action is right now, for good or bad, when it comes to building out a presence or a brand on these spaces. And so we have a Discord, and I'm obviously very active on Twitter. It's one of my favorite platforms. So if you want to learn how to use these platforms, connect with us over in my Discord, watch what we're doing and watch how we're using the platform. And I think that's the best way to learn how to set things up, so that when you set up a Discord for your clients, your customers, your patients, you'll have a pretty good feel for how all of these things work together.
That is awesome. Mitch, thank you so much. It was amazing talking to you and getting some insight into the Metaverse Handbook. Well done to you, and well done to Garrett. And any idea when it might be releasing?
Well, right now we're looking at before the end of the month. So before the end of February. And if you're watching the recorded version of this show and you're looking for the book, it will be available on Amazon in traditional book format. We'll also be making it available via Kindle and an Audible version too. So this will be fun. I'll be announcing it on all my different platforms. I'm at Mitch Jackson on most of the platforms. And it's been a pleasure. It's always a pleasure to see you. I'm so impressed by the value you bring to our live streaming community. And anytime you want us on this show, I'm simply an email away. So I'm always here from you. Even though we're on different sides of the planet, I feel like I feel like we're right there in the same room. So Bridgetti, it's so good to see you, and thanks for doing all that you do.
Absolute pleasure. Thank you very, very much to everyone who's watched this live and anyone who may be watching this on the rerun. You're watching Books with Bridgetti, and my amazing guest was Mitch Jackson talking about the Metaverse Handbook. So do watch out for that. Thanks for joining us. Stay well, and we'll see you on the next episode.